Welcome to my channel Karma Romance Stories. Please like, subscribe for more videos.
The day my grandfather died, everyone cried, or at least they pretended to. I thought I had lost the only person who truly loved me. I had no idea that within 24 hours I would become the sole heir to a $7 billion empire. The moment the lawyer read the will, my family stopped calling me daughter and granddaughter. They started calling me greedy. That same night they threw me out of the house. They thought I would come back begging. Instead, I walked through the gates of my grandfather's mansion as its rightful owner. The next morning they arrived with lawyers, security guards, and fake confidence. But the second they saw the man standing beside me, every word disappeared. What happened next changed all of our lives forever. My name is Emily, and until that week I believed family meant loyalty. My grandfather was one of the richest businessmen in America, but he never cared about expensive cars or private jets. He cared about honesty, respect, and hard work. While everyone else visited him only on birthdays and holidays, I visited every weekend. We talked about books, business, and life. He always told me that money reveals who people truly are. When the accident happened, the entire family gathered at the funeral wearing black clothes and fake tears. I was heartbroken. My grandfather had raised me after my parents spent years chasing money and social status. Losing him felt like losing my home. 2 days later, everyone met inside the law office. My uncles whispered about which mansion they wanted. My cousins argued over luxury cars before the will was even opened. My mother smiled at me as if everything was normal. I still believed we would remain a family. Then the lawyer cleared his throat. He announced that every business, every investment, every property, and every share of the family empire had been left to one person. Me. The room fell completely silent. My uncle slammed his hand on the table. My aunt accused the lawyer of fraud. My mother demanded another copy of the will. My cousin stared at me with hatred instead of shock. The lawyer calmly explained that my grandfather had updated the will several months earlier after extensive legal reviews. Every document had been witnessed and verified. Then he handed me a handwritten letter. My grandfather wrote that wealth should never reward entitlement. He trusted only one person to protect everything he had built. He believed I would use it wisely and never allow greed to destroy the family legacy. Before I could finish reading, my mother grabbed my arm. She whispered that families share everything. My uncle demanded I divide the inheritance equally. When I refused, they called me selfish. That evening they packed my belongings into trash bags and left them outside the front door. My own parents told me I was no longer welcome in their home. I cried for exactly 10 minutes. Then I remembered something my grandfather once told me. Never beg for a seat at a table you already own. I called his lawyer. Within 1 hour a driver arrived. We drove through massive gates until the mansion appeared in front of me. The house manager greeted me by my full name and handed me a set of keys. Every employee welcomed me home because my grandfather had prepared everything months earlier. That night I walked through empty halls filled with memories. I promised myself I would protect everything he had built. The following morning, several black luxury vehicles stopped outside the mansion. My family stepped out with lawyers, security guards, and angry expressions. My uncle shouted that I had no right to live there. My mother demanded the gates be opened. My cousin laughed and claimed they would have me removed before sunset. They marched toward the entrance. Then the front doors opened. Standing beside me was my grandfather's lifelong attorney, together with the former chief executive officer of the company and the retired judge who had supervised the estate documents. The lawyer calmly held the original will. The chief executive announced every employee had already recognized me as the new owner. The retired judge explained every legal challenge had already been anticipated months before my grandfather passed away. My family's confidence disappeared instantly. My uncle stopped speaking. My mother looked at the ground. Even their lawyers quietly stepped backward. The lawyer warned them that any attempt to force entry would result in immediate legal action. Security politely escorted everyone outside the gates. For the first time in years, the mansion became peaceful. Over the next several months, I focused on rebuilding the company. I increased employee salaries. I created scholarships in my grandfather's name. I donated millions to hospitals, schools, and research programs. The company grew stronger than ever. Meanwhile, the relatives who once demanded everything slowly disappeared from public attention. One afternoon, my mother asked for a private meeting. She apologized for choosing money over family. I listened carefully. Then I thanked her for finally telling the truth. Forgiveness does not always mean restoring trust. Sometimes forgiveness simply means choosing peace instead of revenge. I wished her well and walked away. As I stood in my grandfather's garden, I realized his greatest inheritance was never the fortune. It was the wisdom to recognize loyalty before wealth. Money never changes people. It reveals them. My grandfather did not leave me billions because I was perfect. He left them because trust is worth more than fortune. The people who abandoned me believed wealth belonged to whoever demanded it the loudest. They were wrong. True inheritance is earned through character. If this story taught you anything, remember that loyalty has value no bank can measure.